In a desperate bid to salvage a company on the brink of bankruptcy, I found myself compelled to wed a reputedly cruel and disabled tycoon. My sister, consumed by envy at my ascent into a life of luxury, sought to seize the opportunity for herself. I, having endured a debilitating injury, managed to secure investment funds to revive the factory, only to witness her squander it on a lavish display of opulence. My brother-in-law is a billionaire. What is this trifling sum? He can easily invest more, she scoffed. My father, stricken with rage, suffered a heart attack. After much effort, I arranged for a foreign specialist to aid him, yet she barred the expert's entry at the door. My brother-in-law has connections that can summon any doctor. With a mere phone call, my father could have a new heart, she proclaimed. Ultimately, the company collapsed, and my father missed the critical window for treatment, passing away. She pointed an accusatory finger at me, berating, "It's all your fault. Your husband is so formidable, yet he couldn't even save my father." In a fit of madness, she shoved me from a great height. Upon my rebirth, my sister hastily reached out to the disabled tycoon, securing a marriage contract. "Sister, I'm sorry, but I shall relish this boundless wealth while you and our parents can fend for yourselves," she declared triumphantly. Little did she know, our family had been reborn as well. My parents and I observed her gleefully leaping into the abyss, silently aware of her impending doom. We understood that the tycoon's disability was but a ruse, while his notorious reputation for breaking bones was all too real. "Father, mother, what troubles you?" I inquired, observing my father slumped on the sofa, exhaling sighs of despair, while my mother silently wept, her tears flowing freely. My question was one I already knew the answer to. My father lifted his gaze towards me, his bloodshot eyes filled with exhaustion and fury. "That ungrateful daughter. She has married without a second thought. She signed a prenuptial agreement, declaring that she would sever all ties with our family." My mother covered her face, weeping inconsolably. How could she be so heartless? "That is the Fu family, the one rumored to be ruled by a tyrant." I approached her gently, patting her back. "Mother, do not cry. This is her own choice." Indeed, it was her own choice. In my previous life, she had made the same decision, though then. She chose to watch me plunge into the abyss. To save our family business from impending bankruptcy and ensure my parents could enjoy their twilight years, I had acquiesced to a union with the Fu family. I married the infamous and cruel heir, Fu Xinyan, who was rumored to be both brutal and physically disabled. My sister, Lin Qing, envied my ascent into the upper echelons of society, unaware that Fu Xinyan's disability was a mere facade, while his ruthlessness was all too real. On our wedding night, he brutally shattered the leg of a cousin who dared to disrupt our nuptials, leaving me haunted by the bloody scene that became a recurring nightmare. I felt like a bird trapped in a gilded cage, living in constant trepidation. After much effort, I managed to secure Fu Xinyan's investment to revive our factory, only for Lin Qing to squander the funds on a wall of luxury handbags. My brother-in-law is a billionaire. What is a little money to him? He can invest again, can't he? Her flippant words severed our factory's financial lifeline, triggering a heart attack in my father, who was subsequently hospitalized. I pulled many strings to bring in foreign specialists, yet Lin Qing, accompanied by a throng of bodyguards, barred them from entering, flaunting her arrogance. With her brother-in-law's connections, she believed no expert was beyond reach, thinking a mere phone call could procure my father a new heart. She thought she was boasting but was, in fact, obstructing my father's only chance at survival. Ultimately, the company collapsed, and my father missed the critical window for treatment, passing away. She placed the blame squarely on my shoulders, pointing an accusatory finger at me, declaring, "It's all your fault. Your husband is so powerful. Yet he couldn't save my father." In the midst of our argument, she crazily shoved me off the hospital's rooftop. As I fell, I glimpsed her twisted yet triumphant smile and saw my mother's face turn ashen, collapsing in shock below. Thankfully, we have returned. I gazed at my parents, my resolve unwavering. "Father, mother, let us abandon the company." My father was taken aback. "Abandon? That is our life's work. Our efforts can be rebuilt, but lives cannot be replaced." I grasped their hands firmly. "Trust me, as a family, we will thrive." My parents fell silent, absorbing the conviction in my eyes. After a prolonged moment, my father sighed deeply, as if shedding a monumental burden. "Very well, we shall heed your words. Together, we are stronger than anything. 2. The following day, Lin Qing's call arrived. As soon as the line connected, her voice brimmed with smugness. Sister, have you spoken to mother and father? I am now the young mistress of the Fu family. Do you realize how vast this villa is? My walk-in closet is larger than our entire home. Oh, and by the way, our family is finished. Are you all nearly homeless now? I listened to her prattling, feigning a sigh of despair. Indeed. Our company is on the verge of bankruptcy, and the bank is about to seize our house. We are contemplating where to rent a modest place. On the other end, Lin Qing let out a short, gleeful laugh. Oh dear, that is truly tragic. But rest assured, once I am firmly established, I will surely assist you. I'll rent you a decent basement. It's certainly better than living under a bridge. I suppressed my laughter. Thank you in advance, Qing Qing. After ending the call, my mother looked at me with concern. Wan. I shook my head. Mother, ignore her. Let her perform. She thinks we are floundering in despair. And the more miserable we appear, the more delighted she becomes. Meanwhile, we require her arrogance. We swiftly sold our city apartment and rented a small courtyard in the suburbs. Our funds were limited, but I distinctly remembered that in my previous life, during this month, an obscure AI concept stock would skyrocket 30-fold within a fortnight. I invested every last cent. With that done, the three of us began cultivating vegetables and flowers in our little courtyard. My father even resumed his carpentry skills from his youth, crafting happily each day. Lin Qing called several more times, oscillating between complaints and boasts. Sister, Fu Xinyan is so peculiar. He won't let me into his study. His assistant looks at me so coldly, it's quite rude. But he did give me a black card yesterday. Unlimited spending. I'm going on a shopping spree today. Oh, and I accidentally broke an antique vase yesterday. Yet Fu Xinyan didn't scold me. He merely fired that clumsy servant. Isn't he rather good to me? I listened with a cold smirk playing on my lips. In my previous life, I too had broken a vase, and Fu Xinyan had said nothing. The next day, the dismissed servant never returned. Later, I learned that many such dismissed individuals lay buried behind the Fu family estate. Indeed, he treats you exceptionally well, I replied softly. Qing Qing. You must hold on to your happiness tightly. 3. The bankruptcy proceedings of the company were completed swiftly. Our relatives and friends, now aware of our downfall, began to distance themselves. Yet, some former employees who had been driven away by Lin Qing came bearing fruit as a gesture of goodwill. President Lin, why must it come to this? The company was such a loss. It's all that Lin Qing's doing. A real ingrate. My father waved his hand dismissively, a broad smile on his face. It's all in the past. We are quite well as we are now. After bidding farewell to the old employees, Lin Qing's call came unexpectedly. This time, her tone was filled with irritation and accusation. Lin Wan, what is going on? The company has gone bankrupt, and you haven't come to plead with me? I've been waiting for days. If you don't seek my help, how can I ask my husband for money? If you don't look miserable enough, how can I show him my worth? I was left speechless. What kind of logic was this? She wasn't seeking to assist us, rather. She wished to exploit our plight to showcase her value to Fu Xinyan. I sighed, adopting a sorrowful tone. Qing Qing, how could we possibly burden you? You are now the young mistress of the Fu family. We cannot bring you shame. We've sold the house and are currently renting a small place in the suburbs. It's rather nice. Silence fell on the other end of the line, followed by Lin Qing's frantic shriek. Renting? Have you lost your minds? You've tarnished my reputation. What will others think of me? That Lin Qing became a wealthy wife while her family faced bankruptcy, living in a rental? Absolutely not. The next day, a bank card arrived at our small courtyard, accompanied by a note penned in Lin Qing's flamboyant handwriting. 500,000. Use it as you wish. And don't embarrass me any further. I looked at the card and smiled. My mother hesitated. But this money. Take it, why not? Without a moment's doubt, I withdrew the funds and reinvested them entirely into that stock. This was her debt to us. Meanwhile, far away at the Fu family estate, Lin Qing was on the verge of madness. Fu Xinyan was like a shadow, utterly elusive to her. The grand estate felt less like a home and more like an opulent prison, bored to the point of distraction. She resolved to host a grand pool party at the estate using that black card. She intended to showcase to everyone that she, Lin Qing, was the true mistress of the Fu family. Ching Ching, are you certain you wish to proceed with this? Her best friend inquired anxiously over the phone. Doesn't Fu shout us like noise? What do you know? Lin Qing retorted, her voice sharp and self-satisfied. Men adore surprises. When he returns and sees all that I have prepared for him, and the multitude of friends I have gathered, he will truly understand my allure. I shall prove to him that I, Lin Qing, am not a woman who cannot survive without a man. She hung up the phone, gazing at the scene by the pool, where laughter and clinking glasses mingled in delight, a satisfied smile gracing her lips. She had deliberately donned a bikini made of the barest fabric, holding a glass of wine while envisioning the astonished and infatuated gaze Fu Xinyan would cast upon her. As night fell, the atmosphere of the party reached a fever pitch. Suddenly, with a loud pop, all the lights around the pool extinguished. Gasps erupted from the crowd. The only illumination came from the glass door at the end of the pool, which slowly swung open. A tall, imposing figure stood there, silhouetted against the moonlight. He was not in a wheelchair. He stood there, like a monarch of the night, exuding an overwhelming aura of intimidation. It was Fu Xinyan. The raucous party fell into an immediate hush, everyone petrified into silence by the frigid and ferocious energy radiating from him. Lin Qing was also stunned, her wine glass clattering to the ground. Xinyan? Your leg. Fu Xinyan ignored her, his dark gaze sweeping across the chaotic pool area before finally landing on a rotund, blonde acquaintance of Lin Qing's, who was merrily embracing a bikini-clad beauty. Enough. Fu Xinyan's thin lips parted to utter a single word. His bodyguard, clad in black, immediately advanced, seizing the 500-pound man as if he were a lifeless dog. Fu Xiao, have mercy, came the piercing shriek that shattered the night, accompanied by the sickening sound of bones breaking, sharp and horrifying. The men and women by the pool, terrified, scattered in frantic flight. Lin Qing collapsed to the ground, her complexion as pale as a ghost. Fu Xinyan approached her, each step deliberate, like a devil advancing. He regarded her coldly. Did you think I married you for any reason? Lin Qing trembled, unable to utter a single word. Fu Xinyan slowly crouched down, gripping her chin to force her to meet his gaze. My mother is gravely ill and wishes to see me married before she departs. And you, among all my options, are the most convenient, the most foolish, and the easiest to dispose of. The cruel and icy curve of his lips spoke volumes. Lin Qing, you were never my choice. You were merely a tool to placate my mother, one that I can discard when I am finished. Lin Qing was confined in a room on the second floor of that opulent villa. The windows were nailed shut, and her phone and computer had been confiscated. She had become a veritable prisoner. Meanwhile, my family was experiencing a renaissance. AI concept stock soared, and I astutely sold at a peak, transforming an initial capital of 500,000 into 15 million. With this fortune, I registered a new dining enterprise. In my previous life, I had honed my culinary skills to please Fu Xinyan, particularly excelling in various health-focused medicinal dishes. I foresaw that in a few years, high-end private chefs and health-conscious dining would become the new trend. Now, I aim to seize this market ahead of time. My father's old associates, hearing of my entrepreneurial endeavor, approached me with their savings. Lin Zong, we trust you. No. You should now address me as Lin Dong. Let us join you in this venture. Seeing their earnest faces, I nodded emphatically. Very well. Together, we shall reclaim what we have lost. On the day of the company's opening, we refrained from extravagant celebrations, opting instead for a simple meal. During the gathering, I received an unexpected phone call. It was Zhou Mu, the heir of Zhou Corporation, Fu Xinyan's arch-rival. Miss Lin, I have long admired your reputation. I hear you have started a dining company? I have a private banquet next week and would like to invite your team to manage it. Would you be willing to grace us with your presence? I paused, quickly realizing the implications. In my previous life, Zhou Mu had sought to recruit me but was thwarted by Fu Xinyan's ruthless tactics. Now, in this life, I was no longer Mrs. Fu, naturally. He sought my collaboration. Mr. Zhou, you are too kind, it would be my honor. The banquet turned out to be a resounding success. Our exquisite dishes and innovative concepts, particularly the remarkably effective medicinal cuisine, garnered rave reviews from all the guests. Zhou Mu instantly signed a long-term collaboration agreement with us. Our company skyrocketed to fame. Life began to stabilize. My father no longer worried about the company, his spirits lifted, and even his long-standing heart condition improved markedly. My mother, now experimenting with new recipes, wore a more frequent smile. In our small courtyard, flowers bloomed, and the aroma of delicious food wafted through the air, forming a stark and ironic contrast to the frigid prison that was Lin Qing's existence. Lin Qing was on the verge of madness. Daily, she screamed at the nailed windows, smashed objects, and even attempted to starve herself. Yet, all in vain. The servants ignored her, and Fu Xinyan had not shown his face again. Eventually, she bribed a newly hired maid, who, under the cover of night, secretly called me. As soon as the line connected, I was met with her stifled and desperate sobs. "Sis, save me. You must come rescue me. Fu Xinyan is a devil. He isn't human. He broke my leg. No, he broke someone else's leg." Her voice was frantic, filled with terror. "He has locked me up. I want to get out. I can't stay here." I clutched the phone, stepping into the courtyard, my tone imbued with the perfect blend of shock and concern. "Ching Ching? What is the matter? What nonsense are you spouting? How could Fu Xiao be a devil? Isn't he treating you well? He even gave you that black card to use freely. Surely you must be dreaming." My words extinguished any flicker of hope in her. She fell silent, then emitted a piercing wail. "No, it's not like that. You have all been deceived. He is a madman. Sis, you are my real sister. You cannot abandon me. I beg you. Tell Mom and Dad to come to Fu's house and demand my release. If you create a scene, he will definitely let me go for the sake of his pride." She still held on to her naive calculations. I sighed softly, my voice heavy with difficulty and helplessness. "Ching Ching, you are now Mrs. Fu. How could we possibly create a scene at Fu's house? That would only make us a laughingstock. Besides, our family is bankrupt now. We are insignificant. Fu's family would not take us seriously." I paused deliberately. It would be best for you to appease Fu Xiao, after all. Married couples should not harbor lingering grudges. With that, I hung up the phone. Listening to the busy signal on the other end, Lin Qing completely unraveled. She furiously smashed her phone against the wall, howling like a beast. "Lin Wan, you wretched woman. You wish to see me dead. I will not grant you that satisfaction." I never anticipated that Fu Xinyan would personally come to my door. That afternoon, a black Rolls-Royce Phantom silently parked outside our courtyard. The door swung open, and Fu Xinyan emerged. Clad in a perfectly tailored black suit, he stood tall, exuding a powerful presence. The moment he appeared, the air in the courtyard seemed to freeze. My mother, tending to the flowers, and my father, working on carpentry, halted their actions, watching him with bated breath. I set down the ledger in my hand and stepped outside. "Mr. Fu, what a rare visit." I genuinely felt no fear, after all, in this life. I was not his wife. Fu Xinyan's gaze fell upon me, his deep, inscrutable black eyes filled with unmistakable scrutiny. In the previous life, each encounter with him left me as nervous as a mouse in the presence of a cat, my words tumbling out in disarray. "Miss Lin," he began, his voice deep and magnetic, "my wife has called you." He framed it as a statement rather than a question. I nodded slightly. She did. However, she seemed somewhat unwell. Speaking nonsense. As I spoke, I ushered him into the modest yet tidy space, where remnants of our lunch still adorned the table. "Mr. Fu, you have witnessed our current predicament," I stated, laying out the bankruptcy documents, the bank's demand notices, and our new business license before him. "My family seeks only to live a quiet life, devoid of the energy or capacity to interfere in your marital affairs." My demeanor was unyielding, bordering on ruthless. Fu Xian observed the documents in silence before turning his gaze towards me. He seemed to search my face for even a trace of pretense, yet he failed. My eyes mirrored nothing but sincerity. After a prolonged moment, he rose to his feet. "Miss Lin is an astute individual," he remarked, making his way to the door, pausing briefly to cast a glance back at me. "Keep your distance from her. And from Zhou Mu as well." With that cryptic statement, he departed. As I watched the luxurious vehicle vanish into the distance, my parents finally exhaled in relief. "Wanwans, what does he mean by that?" I shook my head, puzzled. Fu Xian, in this life, appeared to be different in some inexplicable way. He actually cared about who I associated with. Lin Qing's escape plan culminated in abject failure. Under the cover of night, she fashioned a rope from bed linens, attempting to descend from the second-floor window. However, the makeshift rope snapped midway, resulting in a broken leg, and she was promptly apprehended by patrolling bodyguards. Fu Xian neither struck nor berated her. He merely summoned a doctor to mend her leg and subsequently dismissed all the servants from her room. He promoted the young maid, whom Lin Qing had bribed, to be her exclusive caretaker. This was a profound humiliation. Lin Qing's pride and dignity were methodically crushed beneath Fu Xian's heel. Gradually, she descended into madness. Alternating between fits of laughter and tears, her once vibrant visage grotesquely contorted from prolonged torment and bitterness. In stark contrast, our restaurant, latecomer, flourished, aided by Zhou Mu's support, gaining notable acclaim. We graced the cover of a financial magazine, the headline reading, "Phoenix Rising, the culinary comeback of a bankrupt family." The photograph depicted our family of three, radiant and confident smiles illuminating our faces. With our earnings, we repurchased the house previously seized by the bank and undertook renovations. Everything seemed to be moving in a favorable direction. I even began planning the opening of a second branch. Just then, I received a call from the old butler of the Fu family. The matriarch was gravely ill and wished to meet her daughter-in-law. To reassure his mother, Fu Xian decided to host a charity gala, insisting that Lin Qing must attend. The charity gala sparkled with brilliance. Lin Qing appeared, clad in an exquisite custom gown and adorned with meticulous makeup, clinging to Fu Xian's arm as they presented themselves to the crowd. She seemed to have regained the lofty persona of Mrs. Fu. Yet, only upon closer inspection could one discern the hollowness and numbness lurking in her eyes. As our restaurant was invited as the catering provider for the evening, we too were present. Upon seeing the three of us in our elegant attire, surrounded by esteemed guests, her complexion drained of color. She locked eyes with me, noticing the vibrant, confident, and graceful version of myself. A stark contrast to the one who was once mired in despair, now living a life far more dazzling than hers. A fierce jealousy and bitterness gnawed at her heart, and she could no longer maintain her facade. With a sudden burst of madness, she wrenched herself from Fu Xian's grasp and lunged towards us. "Dad, Mom, Sister." She collapsed to her knees, clutching my father's leg, sobbing uncontrollably. "Help me. Please save me. He is not human. He will kill me." The room erupted in astonishment, all eyes and cameras instantly converging upon us. The journalists, like sharks sensing blood, frantically clicked their shutters. Just as I prepared to speak, my father moved first. Anguish etched upon his face as he attempted to pry Lin Qing's hands away. "Lin Qing, have you lost your mind? What are you babbling about?" His voice was heavy with disappointment and anger. "You are Mrs. Fu now. Fu Xian treats you well. What more could you possibly want? How could our Lin family have produced such an ungrateful wretch? You have no shame, and we still have our dignity." My mother stepped forward, clutching her chest, appearing as if she might faint from indignation. "What a sin we have committed! What transgressions have we brought upon ourselves?" Our family seamlessly played the role of the victim, heartbroken by a wayward daughter's erratic behavior. Whispers rippled through the crowd. What has happened to the second daughter of the Lin family? Has Fu Xian not treated her well enough? Why throw away the life of a noble wife to act out like this? Sympathy began to shift towards Fu Xian and our innocent family, while Lin Qing morphed into the unreasonable, ungrateful madwoman. She stared at us, seemingly unable to fathom our public denunciation. Fu Xian approached, his expression dark enough to draw water. He yanked Lin Qing off the ground. "My apologies, everyone. Family matters," he stated coldly. "My wife has not been quite herself lately." With that, he dragged Lin Qing away from the gala, leaving no room for further discussion. That evening marked the final straw for Lin Qing, becoming the catalyst for our restaurant's meteoric rise to fame. Fu Xian, perhaps for the first time, garnered sympathy from others for his display of familial loyalty and concern for the greater good. The following day, the legal department of the Fu Group delivered a substantial gift to us, a comprehensive investigative report on Lin Qing. This document chronicled her myriad indiscretions, including her embezzlement of the investment funds I had procured, her actions that triggered my father's heart attack, and her obstruction of foreign experts, causing my father to miss critical treatment opportunities. Although the report refrained from mentioning the notion of reincarnation, each incident pointed to Lin Qing's selfishness, greed, and malice. Fu Xian, clearly repulsed by her foolishness and venom, loathed betrayal and deceit above all. He took the report to Lin Qing, and no one knew what transpired within the confines of that room. However, that night, anguished cries and pleas for mercy echoed from her quarters. Subsequently, a divorce agreement and a hefty bill were presented to Lin Qing. The divorce stipulated her exit with nothing, while the bill demanded exorbitant compensation for defaming the Fu Group's reputation. Lin Qing was not only stripped of her facade, but also burdened with insurmountable debt, becoming the laughingstock of the city. She was expelled from the Fu family estate, akin to a stray dog. Without money or friends, those who once fawned over her now avoided her like the plague. Creditors pursued her relentlessly. In desperation, she found her way to our doorstep. That evening, we were dining in the yard. She burst into the room and collapsed to the floor with a thud. Her emaciated frame was unrecognizable, her body filthy, her hair resembling a tangle of dried grass, and her face marred by streaks of tears and grime. "Father, mother, sister, I was wrong," she pleaded, bowing her head, causing her forehead to swell rapidly with bruises. "I truly realize my mistakes. Please forgive me. I am also your daughter, your sister." Desperation laced her voice. "I implore you. Save me. The creditors outside will kill me." Her cries were heart-wrenching, invoking profound pity. My father set down his chopsticks, his expression devoid of emotion. I continued to eat, perceiving her merely as an inconsequential stranger. My mother rose to her feet and slowly approached Lin Qing, crouching before her. A flicker of hope ignited in Lin Qing's eyes, as she presumed her mother's heart had softened. However, my mother merely gazed at her in silence, devoid of hatred or anger. Only an icy indifference that cut deeper than any blade. "My daughter," my mother began, her voice void of maternal affection, "died over a year ago when you pushed your own sister from the rooftop." She stood upright, each word articulated with crystalline clarity. "I do not know who you are." With that, she turned and retreated to her room, shutting the door behind her. I too rose, finishing the last morsel of rice in my bowl. "Security," I called out towards the entrance. "Please escort this young lady out and ensure that no unwelcome individuals set foot in our home henceforth." Lin Qing gazed at us in despair. Outside, her frantic screams and curses echoed. None of us turned back. Postscript. At the celebratory banquet, Jomu approached me with a glass in hand, smiling as he remarked, "Lon Lon, I heard Lin Qing has gone mad. Just days ago, she was found beneath the overpass, scavenging for food alongside stray dogs, incessantly muttering, 'I am Mrs. Fu.'" I swirled the red wine in my glass, remaining silent. "Do you feel pity for her?" Jomu inquired cautiously. I lifted my gaze toward my parents, who were laughing and conversing with friends not far away. Their smiles radiated the warmth I had yearned for throughout 2 lifetimes. I smiled. "Jomu, look at the moonlight tonight. It is exquisite." "Pity?" The moment she pushed me from the heights and I witnessed my parents crumble to the ground, that word ceased to exist between us. Her fate was of her own making, while her happiness was rightfully ours. As the banquet concluded, I received an email from Fu Xinyan, a letter of intent regarding a collaborative project in overseas markets. His ambition remained as grand as ever. I gazed at the signature, that flamboyant script of Fu Xinyan, and a playful smile tugged at my lips. I closed my computer and stepped onto the balcony. The evening breeze caressed my face, and the stars shimmered brilliantly. In this life, I was no longer anyone's appendage, nor a bird trapped in a cage. My future held infinite possibilities. As for Fu Xinyan, whether to collaborate or not would depend on my disposition. After all, I am the queen of my own realm. The end. Thank you for listening, and until we meet again in the next story.